It's time for Catching Up with Carley presented by Meijer, and today I'm very pleased to be joined by Assistant General to the Detroit Red Wings, Ryan Martin. Ryan, you're actually in Edmonton right now. How's it going?
First of all, Carly, how you doing? It's going great up here. I'm up here as a volunteer with the USA Hockey up here for the World Junior Championship. So we're on day three of our mandatory isolation period in our hotel, but the sun's out and it's not too cold outside. We're looking forward to getting to the rink in a couple days.
I love it. All right, let's talk about the World Junior Championship. We have a slew of players from the Red Wings organization that are playing in that championship right now. How incredible is that for an organization to have that many guys, 7 guys in this championship?
Well, it's a testament to our amateur scouting department and the player development group. Certainly, a lot of guys on Sweden's team. We've got 5 players on Sweden's roster, and a couple of more that were actually eligible for the team and tried out. Unfortunately, one didn't. One had an issue with health and wasn't able to be a part of the team. But it's a testament to the group that's drafted these guys and our player development group. The 5 guys, are players that we've picked in the last 2 drafts. So for the viewers that don't know, the World Junior Tournament is, in my opinion, it's the best under 20 tournament in the world. It's best on best competition. It's an incredibly competitive tournament with lots of players that even have NHL experience all the way down to high end juniors. So for our group to see guys like Gustav Berglund and Albert Johansson, newly drafted forwards, Theodore Niederbach, obviously Lucas Raymond, our first round pick from this year, and Elmer Soderblom on Sweden's roster. Jan Bednar's a goaltender that from the Czech Republic that'll be playing for the Czech team, and then Emil Viro on Finland's team, a defenseman. So we're really excited to have these players in this tournament. It's great competition, great experience for their development.
So a few of these players have been playing for the most part their hometown teams, but with this long pause, and I'm sure it has affected player development, especially with these young guys. But do you think this is so impactful and beneficial for these guys to be playing in this tournament?
Yeah, well, a lot of these guys, as you correctly point out, a lot of them have had very few, I would say, very few interruptions in their seasons dating back to when their training camps open in the late summer, early fall. They've had some delays and some stoppages, but for the most part, a lot of the European leagues have been pretty consistent in getting their games back up and running, dedicating time to practice and development. So for the European players, I don't think there's been as much of an impact in terms of development, but the opportunity to play in this tournament, regardless of what the players have been doing for the fall, it's great experience. It's an incredibly competitive tournament. Uh, Again, that's best on best under 20, the best prospects of a lot of these NHL organizations. And so for us, it's an added benefit for them to have the opportunity to play in this and will definitely help with their player development.
Yeah, no kidding. And speaking of those players on loan to Europe, do you expect some of them to come back to Grand Rapids for training camp?
So some of the players that we've got over there, certainly, as of today, everything is still in flux in terms of the NHL season start, as well as the American League. The NHL and the Players Association, as I understand it, are still continuing to work through their return to play protocol. We've got a number of players that are on loan to Europe right now, and when there's a definitive date for our training camp and I guess a quarantine policy that's in place in terms of them knowing what timeline they're looking at uh, to comply with that quarantine heading into training camp, I think that'll dictate when these players come back. But certainly, the Philip Zadina and Phil Hronik, players that are going to be regulars on Detroit's roster. I would say they're in the planning stages of getting their affairs in order and preparing to come back to Detroit sooner rather than later, as we're all anticipating, hopefully training camp opening, before the end of December or into early January.
Awesome. Okay, so now let's talk about some players that we're looking at. Let's start with Philip Hronik, someone who had a great season last season. Do you see him building upon what he had in the previous season? Like, could he be more effective even now as a Demon with Danny DeKaiser back and some new established players on the blue line with him?
Yeah, absolutely. Philip had a great season last year, and he's been one of the players that has taken full advantage of an assignment to Europe. So he went over to Europe late in the summer. He's played a lot of hockey over there, and it's been great for him to continue along that development path. Certainly had a really productive off season. Unfortunately, when we entered the pause last March, I think one of the positives that came out of that was the extended off season for these players, the ability to train more, get into the gym. And Philip's one of the guys that took advantage of that. And again, for him to go over and play in the Czech Elite League this fall, we're looking for him to build off what he did last year. And to your point, the return of Danny DeKaiser as well as the defense group that we signed this off season with Troy Stetcher, Mark Stahl. That's going to help our blue line and certainly help players like Philip in terms of their development as well.
Absolutely. And then now moving to another Philip, Zadina, who was playing really well before his unfortunate ankle injury. He's been playing well in Czech as well. Do you think he's ready to have an effective year in the NHL?
Yeah, and as you correctly point out, like Philip Hronik, Philip Zadina also on a similar path, had the extended off season, the extended pause, and was permitted to, allowed to take advantage of additional training time. And then he went over to the Czech Elite League as well and has played some good hockey, very good hockey over there this fall. So, he only played in 28 NHL games last year, but I'm sure the fans saw it, some flashes of that offensive skill that he's going to bring to the mix. And we're definitely looking for Philip Zadina to build off the success that he had last year and continue along his path. So again, it's great. Great that those two players were able to take advantage of opportunities to go back to their native country and play in a really competitive league. And hopefully, they're in a position coming into our training camp to be able to jumpstart that season for their benefit.
Yeah, absolutely. And one other guy I want to talk about, someone I personally as a fan want to see wearing a wing wheel sweater, Giovanni Smith. Love the guy. He's a gritty player. He's that rough and tumble kind of player. How would his abrasive style of play add to the Red Wings lineup?
Well, I think Giovanni's style play would add to any lineup at the NHL level. He's a type of player that all teams are going to covet. He's a really big man. He's a strong man, and he's got a really nice blend of bringing grit to the game, but a really soft pair of hands and the ability to handle the puck and make plays in the offensive zone. So I think Giovanni's development the last couple years at the American League level has been really good. And credit to Ben Simon and his coaching staff, as well as our player development group with Sean Horkoff and Dan Cleary, to work with Giovanni, and Giovanni's come a long way, and we are definitely looking for Giovanni to push for a spot in Detroit. I know that's Giovanni's goal, and be one of those guys that is going to compete for a full-time job in Detroit. And if he's not ready on opening night, certainly we're hoping that it's soon thereafter. And again, to your point, he's a guy that can bring a lot to the table, and he's certainly aware of what his skill set is and those attributes that he brings. And he's going to be a guy I think that Red Wing fans will really enjoy having in a Red Wing uniform, hopefully for a long time to come.
Absolutely. And I'm excited looking ahead to next season. Although it won't be a full season, I'm excited for some live hockey, some Red Wings hockey, some Griffins hockey, and just to see these guys develop and see what can be sometime down the line. But Ryan, thank you so much for joining me on Catching Up with Carley, presented by Meijer. It's been an absolute pleasure to get to talk to you. Best of luck in Edmonton. Go Team USA.
Yeah, thanks, Carley. Thanks for having me. Take care.
Thank you. You as well.